To talk?
I'm ready.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Hello, product management. I'm very happy that you're sitting here with me. We have a very, very cool topic today. It's about you and your product management and all the topics related to that. So I'm really happy to dive into the topics and to have some deep conversations with you about that topic. So first of all, I want to get to know you a bit better. I mean, I know you, but maybe the other persons, the external person, don't. So, Aurora, we will start with you. Tell me a bit about yourself, your background. How did you came to Quantum?
Hi, Luca. Thank you for having us today. I am Aurora. I am 26 years old. I come originally from Italy, but I studied in Munich. And this is how I got to know Quantum. So doing my master in aerospace, of course, Quantum was a well-known company, I would say. So after my master, I did a couple of experiences, but then eventually decided to look for new challenges, a very dynamic environment. I found Quantum, I found a product management team, and now I'm here since a little bit more than a year.
That's cool to hear. I also forget to tell everyone buongiorno.
Perfect pronunciation.
Yeah, right? So glad to have you on the talk. And next is Michi. Michi, tell me something about you. How long have you been with Quantum and what is your job?
Hi, Luca. I've been with Quantum Systems for almost 4.5 years now. I actually started in Quantum Systems not as a product manager, but I started in engineering in Jacob's team, and that at that time we did a lot of flight testing, prototyping, all that stuff. The company was way smaller back then. And I studied technology management here at the Technical University in Munich, which was, I think, a very good baseline for the job as a product manager. And then at some point, Florian approached me. I think that was almost 3 years ago. At that time, we didn't have product management, so he asked me if I want to establish that department together with another colleague at that time. And I was happy to do that. That's basically how I became a product manager here at Quantum Systems.
And now we're here, sitting
now we're here
in this room and talking about product management. So great to hear. I think during the past years, there have been phenomenal developments around your area and your expertise in particular. So let us guide through the products a bit. We could read all of it via our social media channels, Family of Systems. What is it exactly? And can you just give a brief description of it, and then we may dive a bit deeper into the products?
Yeah, of course. So the Family of Systems basically means that all of our products, although they are of course different because they are tailored to one specific use case, they have the same look and feel, the same workflows, same or at least similar training. And the whole idea behind that is that for a customer that is used to one of our products, the customer should be easy for him to adapt to another product out of our product portfolio. So in the end, that customer should be able to fly with all of our drones without much effort, with very little training. And so it should just in general be very easy for him to adapt to different environments, different drones, and to our ecosystem.
Okay, interesting to hear. And then what kind of UAVs do we have in the Family of Systems? I know we've read about new additions to the Family of Systems, namely the Twister. Aurora, I think you as a dedicated person speaking to that topic. Please give us a brief introduction into the Twister.
Yes, so the Twister is one of our new additions to the Family of System. So it shares a commonality, as Michi already said, the same system architecture. Our accessories are also a big topic for us. We want to share them across the Family of System. And the Twister is the small I would say, the small brother into the family of systems. So it's our smallest drone is 1.25 meters wingspan, up to a weight of 3.8 kilograms approximately. And it was quite of a challenge in such a small drone and on a small platform to actually ensure that the commonalities existing in the family of system could be respected. So we had to make sure still to rely, for example, having the same data link as the family system, so namely Vector, and then in the future also I think we'll come to Reliant and DronePort and what's not, but basically keep all of that existing structure and adapt it to such a small platform. So everything has to be highly integrated. The work on the PCBs, everything is really, really high integrated and engineered to fit perfectly into such a small volume. It's intended also to perform ISR missions, so it also provide a sensor, a camera, and sharing the same also approach to the mission. So it also takes off vertically and lands vertically and then performs a transition and then flies VTOL.
Okay, a tail sitter.
It's a tail sitter.
What are the main challenges with a tail sitter UAV?
The main challenge, and I think the funniest one to overcome in a sense, is of course we have to nail perfectly takeoff and landing. So that's where the main difference is. Of course, we wanted to strongly have a tail sitter in the sense because it actually reduces difficulties in a lot of other areas. For example, we do not have tilt motors, so you reduce the challenges in one side, but then you add challenges on the other side. So we have to nail really, really good the step, especially at landing, the algorithm for landing. So there are a couple of sensors there that ensures LiDAR optical flow sensor that makes sure that we land smoothly without tipping over on a vast area of surfaces. So that I would say is one of the challenges with the Twister.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like a lot of work and a lot of things to keep in mind when developing such a product. So what is the estimated time frame in developing such a new UAV, and who you're talking to within the company to get a broad understanding on and to address every topic you have?
Regarding departments that we talk with the most, the main department I would say is engineering. Of course, we need to have, especially on a product like Twister, which is, let's say, last phase of engineering then starting into production. And so it's really important to keep a close touch with engineers every day, developers daily, really check what changes can be done, what's the estimate level of effort on each of the changes, what features can be taken in, what features shall wait a little bit longer. So I would say that's our main point of contact, especially at this stage. Of course, sales also big user. They will have actually to bring it into our customers. So that's also, I would say, main contact for us, but as well as fulfillment and production. So it's really a role in which you have to really look 360 around you and get input and get output constantly into different departments.
I bet this is quite challenging to have everyone in the loop.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for the insights. Michi, you are responsible, I think, for the current flagship of the company, which is called Vector. Tell us a bit about that product.
Yeah, so the Vector, I think first design was actually done already 5 years ago. It was already kind of a product when I started at Quantum Systems. At least, yeah, we built the first prototypes at that time, around that time. And it was the first product in our product portfolio that we actually sold to governmental customers because, of course, we already sold the Trinity in larger numbers to commercial customers, but there was no governmental product at that time. So, Vector, also VTOL fixed-wing ISR platform, and with a takeoff weight of roughly 8.5 kilograms. Flight time for the initial product was about 2 hours. Now with newer batteries, we can achieve 3 hours. Payload, we currently use the Next Vision Raptor mainly, so 800 gram payload capacity. And we also went through a few revisions in the past, just to facelifts, improve the systems. With all the feedback that we receive from customers, we try to be very close to the customer and to try very hard to develop the product exactly to the customer's needs. which is very challenging because we have so many different customers with a great variation of requirements, and it's sometimes quite challenging to combine all these requirements. But I think with the vector system, we managed to do that quite well. And if you follow LinkedIn closely, you might have seen already that sneak preview of the upcoming revision of the vector system. So we're currently designing another facelift that is even more refined. It's on the one hand, it was important for us because now we're in the 4-digit production number per year. So we needed to refine the product also in terms of manufacturing, just to be able to scale up production. And on the other hand, we have now a large customer base with lots of different requirements, so we had to increase modularity of the vector system. And to achieve that, we basically touch every part. From the outside, it looks fairly similar, but actually on the inside, we touched every single part. So from January 25 on, we will sell our new revision of the vector system, and I'm very much looking forward to that.
That sounds really cool to hear. Can't wait to see it fly. Before we go to our largest UAV, the Reliant, which will come up, just a brief question in between. So this sounds like a lot of work for re-engineering UAV completely. How do you get these ideas? How do we act internally? Why do we want to refurbish or redesign the UAV right now?
Basically, there is no right timing for that because you want to iterate at all times, kind of. But of course, it's always a trade-off. We have now, as we already mentioned, we have basically 5 products plus accessories, and the accessories are sometimes even more work than the core product. So we have to think about this trade-off somehow. But of course, we want to also be very close to the market with every single product. And especially this drone market is very volatile. So the requirements change, especially on the governmental side. There are new things coming up every week almost. And of course, we want to be on the forefront of innovation. We want to be the most innovative company. So we have to iterate also in that pace. So there's not really a choice for us.
Interesting. Thank you so much. So speaking a few more minutes about the product, Reliant. It's a big UAV coming up. We've seen some sneak peeks already via LinkedIn, via Instagram or whatever social media we're using. Can you give us a brief description of what is planned with this UAV?
Yeah, so I think actually the main flight is on LinkedIn, which is quite interesting because we shared the very first moment of that vehicle being airborne. The Reliant
also had a very nervous Jacob talking about that because Flo was having a video live stream and Jacob was
I can imagine, yeah. But in the end, it was very smooth, so everything fine, perfect main flight. I guess the reason why everybody was so nervous is because it's a new level also for us. It's a drone size that we never did before. It's maximum takeoff weight of up to 33 kilograms. So basically, 4 times a vector system, almost. And
almost 10 times a twister.
Almost 10 times a twister. The target flight time with that vehicle is 10 hours. Plus even data link range of more than 150 kilometers. So really new levels in all aspects. More payload capacity. We'll have a sustainer engine in there. So it's also there. It's new components for us. We have to learn about that. So quite a big thing for us. But to follow this family of systems approach is definitely necessary to extend the portfolio into both ends, to the smaller end, as Aurora already mentioned, for the twister system, and also to the larger end. And then this will be the Reliant. And it's going to be a great product. It's even going to be more modular than the Vector system, of course, because we have more payload capacity that we can spend on different payloads, or we can put more fuel in there. The propulsion is still going to be electric, but the batteries will be recharged by the Sustainer engine. So we have this even more possibilities to adjust it to the specific customer's needs, and just giving larger range, more payload options, better cameras even. So this is going to be the next big thing, in my opinion.
Quantum Systems stands for easy footprints, easy handling, easy flying. What is the footprint of the Reliant? When I see a 33 kilogram UAV, normally see thousands of boxes for UAV. Is this also the case for Reliant?
No, absolutely not. So that's one thing that we wanted to be better compared to competitors. Competitors sometimes pull up with 2 trucks and trailers. We will have basically 2 boxes. So we can transport this vehicle, the Reliant, with basically a larger sedan, with SUV size car. So it's still very mobile, although it's quite big. And I think that will open up a lot of opportunities for these bigger drones that just weren't there before.
Interesting. So now we kind of went into the governmental area, but Quantum started also with the commercial area, and we have a very, very nice commercial product as well. Can you tell us a bit about the difference from the governmental market to the commercial market, and why we have a separate drone for that? Maybe then just make a holistic approach of it. Maybe Aurora, you want to start about that?
Yeah, currently our commercial market, so our commercial product is the Trinity. The main differences are, of course, on the encryption that there is over the data link, I would say, and also on the price point. That really plays a lot of difference into the commercial versus governmental market. What is also different is how the procurement and how acquiring the drone works. So commercial market is much more easy and direct, getting the drones to customers, while for governmental market there is a whole nother process to follow. So that's also a difference, and that plays a little bit into how also are developed, because when procurement programs start, then we also need to achieve a certain level of development progress and process. I would say that it's not the same, or not exactly the same currently for the commercial. Nevertheless, in the future, we want to use more and more our products also in a real dual use environment, which means having maybe a twister that is also used for commercial in the future, as well as governmental, with small changes. The smallest changes that one can think of is the exterior, because of course on a governmental drone you want it to be very stealth, not very seen. But if you fly and maybe in a commercial environment, you want the drone to be easily visible. So So this is actually one of the first thing that you can see while looking at the drone, the intended use for it. But we're working in the direction of actually combining more and more and streamlining also our development process.
Interesting. So what are the typical use cases for a commercial UAV, what we're selling right now?
So typically, everything that relates to mapping, to the geospatial industry, that can be linear infrastructure such as pipelines or power lines. It can be mining. It can be agriculture. So there's really a lot of use cases also for the different payloads that we offer. And yeah, as Aurora already mentioned, the line there blurs more and more between the governmental and the commercial side, which is very favorable for us, because that supports this family systems approach and brings our drones closer together in the end.
What sensors do we have right now, and what are the different applications? What can I imagine about that?
So in general, you can for the commercial product portfolio, we have the electro-optical cameras, so just visible light, and that we just do mapping. It's mainly used, for example, for measurements, these use cases. Then we have a LiDAR sensor that's very interesting if you want to look below vegetation, because in kind of with one click of a button you can delete the whole vegetation. You can so you can see the surface below vegetation. You can sometimes customers found actually things that were just not known that were hidden under the vegetation. So that's quite interesting.
Can you guide us a bit through this use case?
Yeah, for example, that's because it's was very interesting also for me when I learned about that. I think actually it was 2 years ago. I'm not so sure. With the Trinity, they mapped a certain area of the rainforest with the LiDAR system. So of course the rainforest is very dense vegetation, so you can't really see through it. And with one click of a button, they found hidden Maya temples that were below the vegetation.
It's crazy,
and just with one click of a button, you delete the whole vegetation. You can see basically the shape and the outline of this Maya temple, and that's of course not the standard use case for that LiDAR system, but it's a very impressive one in my opinion, because it's just super simple. And if you would need to do that without a drone, it will probably take you days or even weeks.
Everyone who's watching this right now or listening to it, we can put a small link in here, because we have the use case, I think, via YouTube.
I think it's on. I think it's on
so
YouTube,
it will be
actually,
here. You can watch it and then give us any comment on that. I think that's pretty cool use case. But sorry, I interrupted you. We have the LiDAR, but I think we also have multispectral cameras, right?
Exactly. So that's mainly for agriculture, because with multispectral cameras you can see how healthy the plants are, if they need fertilizer, if they need more water, for example. So you can increase the efficiency and, for example, not waste fertilizer. And for example, with bigger agricultural companies, that really affects the economies of scale. So this is major leverage for them to exactly know the state of their vegetation.
So that all sounds very, very interesting. I think we have a very good overview now about our products, but we don't only do hardware. I think we also want to highlight that we are doing software. What are we exactly also doing there?
So big topic. And software is, of course, at least as large as hardware, although it's probably not that visible for the customer, because a lot of that software is hidden on the PCBs in the drone. But I think it's worth highlighting first the ground control software, because that's kind of the one thing that the operator sees at all times. So we're focusing there very much on the workflow. So it should be easy to use. Everything should be clear. So even though it's a high-tech drone, it basically can be used as a consumer product. So everything is just logic. It follows the same logic. Every structure is similar. Even if you compare the commercial side to the governmental side, there's not much difference. Of course, you will have some different details and some different functionalities, but the whole general concept is very similar. And the goal there is, because I think what's important to understand is that the customer is not really into drones. I mean, here in the company, a lot of us have aviation background, but that's typically not the case for the customer. The customer is interested in the end product, and the end product is the imagery that we generate. So we have to make it as easy as possible for the customer to generate this imagery and to generate this data ultimately. So we want to take as much workload off of the operator as possible, and the way we can do that is by just simplifying every step of that process. So yeah, that's for ground control software. Then we have products like simulator to make it even easier and to practice and at downtimes when the weather is bad, to for new customers to familiarize themselves with the product.
And even train very corner cases. So with our simulator, it was a very exciting all software project, I would say. For example, you can inject a lot of failure modes that, of course, you don't want to risk your drone for just testing what happens if a propeller goes out, because you don't want to just give it to an inexperienced operator, something like that. And so you can use really the simulator to test all of these corner cases or very difficult landings at night that maybe one person would have really difficulties in real life. And so the simulator comes in handy, both for training in these cases, but also familiarizing or keep familiarizing, because if you are an operator that flies our vector every now and then you have the simulator that can keeps you also in the loop and help you with that. So that I think it's a very nice addition to our family of system.
Yeah, just basically to build up confidence also over time, and it's also a nice feature for our engineers because they can also use the simulator for quick iterations, and they don't always have to go outside and fly the actual drone. Of course, we do that as well, but it's just it makes our process faster.
And I landed vector in Karsplatz once with the simulator.
Oh, nice!
Was the first, so they can actually also do some cool stuff with it.
I wonder if we can do that in real life. Probably not.
Can try it.
Okay, so next video is about that.
Go on YouTube.
Yeah, keep watching.
And then also, of course, important part of software is AI. And with all of our drones, especially with the latest developments, we implement more and more processing capacity, AI chips, just to make it future-proof. And of course, that approach also goes into software, because with all these use cases, there are different requirements for AI. So it's kind of basically container format, so we can deploy different AI algorithms on the different vehicles, but that's of course a big part of the game, and we're developing that towards swarming and more automation in the future. So currently we do a lot of like baseline work, but this is a very fast-paced environment, and we're heading towards this automation thing and having multiple drones, and not only drones, also ground vehicles and different sensor platforms, different information just included in this whole network.
So this sounds really holistic. What is the customer getting with the enhanced AI capabilities? What can the customer do when the customer is flying the drone?
So basically, we want to first of all reduce the customer workload. So what we want to have with AI is that the onboard processing basically already tracks and maybe detect and track a person, a vehicle or whatever, without the operator actually having to do that themselves. Another big enhancement is having basically visual navigation that comes also out of AI algorithms. It means not relying on GPS or on GNSS, but basically the navigation is enabled just by what the drone sees. Other help from AI is, of course, more computing power and what am I missing? The swarming, I guess you already mentioned. So basically having the drones, and not only the drones, and as Michi already said, working together and coordinating their operations. So what I see AI really important for is reducing workload on the operator.
Speaking about reducing workload, we also have an approach of having a drone port within the family of systems. So can you guide us a bit through this approach? What is the idea behind that? I heard a data as a service model. So just guide us a bit through there here.
Yes.
If you want.
The idea behind the drone port is, as you said, really bringing automation to the next level. We want to data as a service. What does it mean? That you are paying for the data itself, so you're paying for the service that you get off the drone, and you don't have to care about the maintenance, the deployment, and changing the batteries or whatever from that one drone. The idea behind the drone port is to have something that not only makes the drone take off and land, but really handles the whole operation of the drone charging it, getting the logs and whatnot, and also allows us to really widens our horizons a lot, because you can imagine then the drone port as something highly scalable. You can place them and have them stationary, for example. You can have them mounted on a vehicle, so more mobile. And in the end, what the operator or the end user could do is either request an area to be searched, or as a first responder, or whatever their need might be, and then everything that comes behind that, the operator or the end user doesn't see. So the drone port and the algorithms, also there is a lot of software involved, basically handles all of that behind the scenes and make sure that only what is paid for, in that case might be the service, get actually delivered to the end customer without eliminating basically all the in-between steps. It's a very cool project. Currently, the drone port already exists and has been tested, and I think even tested from Deutsche Bahn, I think, with the Trinity. It works perfectly with the Vector, so we have one on the roof that catches...
Check out the videos.
Check out the videos here. And comes... so it also uses with Vector currently. Our current development on drone port is focusing on Twister and even putting 3 Twister into one box. And in the future, who knows, might be going in other directions as well. But
it was a glimpse here.
It was a glimpse. No, but the idea in the end, when we develop the algorithms, when we develop the hardware, that's something easily scalable, and we have the knowledge and know how to perfectionate it into the different family of systems. So that's something that I think will really bring us forward.
We're looking forward to that. That sounds like a lot of things you have to do. Talking about all the products, all the knowledge you have. How do you handle all of this? What is the team size? Tell us a bit about the product management itself.
Yeah, so the product management department is still fairly small. We basically have one person being responsible for each product. And our approach is that we are very close to the product. So it's not just sitting behind our desk. It's also to actually know about the product, because we use it from time to time. We, as I already mentioned, we want to be really close to the customer. So that's why we work closely with sales. But not only that, we of course also travel to some events, to some customers, to some live events where we can actually meet the customer and talk to the customer about different ideas and visions and all that. And of course, workload is high, especially with the timelines that we have with this fast-paced environment, with all these projects at the same time. But yeah, that's also part of the game, and that's also what makes it exciting, because every day is different. And the amazing thing is that, for example, when you start a project, sometimes half a year or 6 months later, you can actually see this new product and have it in your hands and actually see the result of your contribution to the product. So that's really motivating, and it's also what keeps us pushing to develop all this new stuff.
Yeah, interesting. So just give us a bit of a highlight. What was your highlight of year 2024, Aurora?
My highlight of year 2024, I guess seeing the Twister flying this summer, because I went out quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, seeing the first video stream, seeing the first landing, the drone port handling, it was always very, very, very thrilling for me.
And now it's very mature, right? So you have a product which is ready to scale and to sell in 2025.
It's crazy, as Michi said, like seeing the difference that a few months might make, and seeing how the hard work actually then develops into something. Sometimes I think we have really to keep calm for a couple of minutes, look what we achieved, and then actually keep going. But it was very inspiring.
Yeah. How about you, Michi?
Well, there were many highlights actually, but one of the greatest moments for me was to actually hold the first parts of our new vector revision in my hands and check out the details, and basically what I just said, that actually see what we achieved over the last few months and see that product come to life. Yeah, that was a cool moment.
I bet. So Michi, you're within the company quite a long time, 4.5 years, you said. So I think when you started, it were like around 50 to 60 employees. Now we have, I think, globally speaking, over 300-ish. And so how did work change through that time?
Quite a bit, I have to say. So Quantum Systems 4.5 years ago was completely different. And yeah, we went through many iterations, different phases. Of course, growing also creates some pain here and there, but it's really great to be part of the process and to learn about all these new things. So it's kind of like growing with the company, because we had to implement new tools, we had to implement new structures. So it's kind of like working for different companies over the time, because each phase has some very unique features, basically, and there's so much progress that's sometimes hard to keep track. For example, we moved into this building, I think now, it was not even 2 years ago, and at that time we had a lot of empty offices. Now we kind of we're short on short on offices. So many aspects. Now we have different entities all over the world. We didn't have that 4.5 years ago. So of course, changing that structure changes also the work life, and also in product management. Basically, I remember we had a meeting with C-level when we established product management, and we went through a list of tasks and we agreed on certain responsibilities. And I think that list is none of the points that were on that list are still valid. So the task changed completely. I think now we have even more responsibility. We have even more ways to shape the product. So it's great. All these opportunities that came with it. But it's also, of course, you have to be open to adapt to new processes and to be open for new input, and basically keep learning. As cliched as it might sound, it's basically keep learning every day.
How about you, Aurora? You are with us since more than a year, I think.
Yeah, 1 year, 2 months, I guess, or something like it.
That's a long time also.
Sure.
So how did you see the change? Because I think you have a different time frame, but still there's a lot of change in the 1 year and 2 months. What are you seeing here?
I think the biggest change, I've seen it in product management, because I think basically we doubled since I came. So it was also nice to see our team growing and getting more people working together, and really seeing the company growing. As Michi said, of course, he's here longer, so we could probably see more phases, but already within a year, I could see how establishing processes also works. I think that's also a little bit part of our work. So finding out things that could be made better, that could be improved, and also contributing into the process for improving, maybe even existing. So you can see how your little idea contributes to somebody's little idea, and then it turns out to be a pretty good and solid process. And that's also something very nice, that even within a time frame of a year, I could appreciate the difference on these aspects.
Talking about growing the team, we're entering the end of 2024, 2025 is upcoming. When you speak to potential new employees, what would you tell them why they should enter your team?
So the thing that stands out the most for me in product management is that we are able to really shape the products, shape processes. So it's not just working on small pieces and doing that all the time. It's an exciting work life, basically, because it's different every day, and it's really contributing, or like not only contributing, but really making decisions that shape the future of quantum systems, and being part of the process is probably the biggest motivating factor for me.
What you, Aurora? What do you say?
I would say that, of course, all of this. Another thing that I think really stands out for us is, as we talked about earlier, we need to have a lot of interfaces with a lot of different people. So as we are a 360 role, we need to, I think a good product manager, or at least my opinion, it is somebody that can really look around and be proactive even. So knowing that the different input might come from maybe unexpected directions, and being ready to think out of the box, incorporate all of that, and always making the best decision. We maybe do not always make the best decision, but the best decision on the informed decision on basically all the information that one really has to be ready to collect, proactively look for, getting the input, listening, retrieving some information maybe proactively if that's not there. So being very, very dynamic and fast-paced also as a person, because we are a fast-paced company. So the dynamism, I think, is within Quantum System and within his employees.
So hear that out there. Here's the link to apply. One last question from my side. We have a very visionary CEO, a very tech-oriented CEO. I think you guys have a lot of touch points with him. How is it to work with such a tech-oriented CEO who is really eager into the product, who has the vision? How is that?
So definitely he can't be fooled. So that's one thing that's for certain, because he knows his stuff, and it's definitely inspiring because there are so many vision that he creates, and of course, then it's on us to kind of build a product around that vision. So especially in this fast-paced environment, that's a big challenge many times. But I think it's also the core DNA of quantum systems that we keep iterating this fast, and that we have probably so many visions and so many ideas, that things that we want to pursue, and that's really outstanding compared to every other company that I know.
I would say the same.
Yeah, same as Michi said. I think is the most is inspiring. Is of course every time the good thing is that we know that the door is always open, so it's also very easy getting communication, and we know that every time there might be something that then comes with work, comes with more things to do, but at least it's good to have the path kind of very clearly shown, and then we can translate that into the product. So it's very nice working with the inspired Florian, and that I think inspires me the most.
I think that are very, very good words to end this talk. Thank you very, very much for being here, spending the time with me.
Thanks for having us.
And I think that was great insight by you, and I can't wait to hear more within the next talks. And yeah, thanks again for being here.
Thank you.